Petroleum industry bill is the biggest news this week. We never thought we've had so much on our plate this week, but I told all of you to look out for this. This is a very heavy week since the first quarter GDP came out on Monday. On Tuesday, Tuesday, first quarter GDP came out. Then we had the MPC on the same day. Then we moved on to have the decision. Then we have OPEC decisions on Wednesday. Then we've got the presidential policy dialogue on Thursday. Then the Lagos state is all over the place, looking back 50 years and looking at another 50 years through investment spyglasses. Then when we thought it was all over, the senators decided to pass, make a final reading, pass the contentious and long-awaited petroleum industry bill, the governance part of it. So don't run into town with the news that the PIB has been passed. Is the governance portion of it. This is a document that it's a book. It has different chapters. So we're now in chapter 1. Maybe that makes it a lot easier. Dolapo Oni is the head of energy research at EcoBank and is joining us live in the studio. Dolapo, good morning. So this is chapter 1.
Yes,
so we just put it that way.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is the PIB chapter 1.
Yeah.
That makes it easy for everyone to understand.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the full document before was like 232 parts. This one is just 7 parts.
232 parts.
Yeah. So this is
part
just 7. This one has only
1.
7 parts. So it's really just a small portion.
It's going to be like
exactly. It's really just a small. The whole book initially was like 400 pages, about 412 pages. So this one is just how many pages? 36
about 100 years.
So.
It's going to be really heavy.
Yeah.
I'm sure since yesterday you've had enough time to to take a look at. Is this really what you, as an energy analyst, would want to see?
Well, again, considering the fact that this is just the first segment, and this part only really deals with the governance bit, I think it's actually okay. I think it's nice. For me, the key thing that stands out here is the fact that we have one single industry regulator now. Or that's what the law will be once it's assented to by the president and all. So you'd have just one regulator, because before we had several regulators whose functions overlapped. I mean, I talked to rig operators, they'll tell you that, oh, this letter came from DPR today, and then tomorrow it's NAPIMS that shows up on the deck, and then tomorrow it's NEDC and then PPPI that shows, and then PPPI. So there are different regulators, and all the overlapping functions. But now all that will be warehoused in just one body. And that one body means that you go to the same body for your licensing, you go to the same body to get your permit, you go to the same person to get all the various approvals that you need to get to do your operation.
Make it simple for me, and the man on the street, I'm one of them. This is ease of doing business in the oil and gas industry, yes or no?
Yes, essentially. That is one way to look at it. Because what this does, it then spells out how will the government relate with the oil and gas industry. Who are the regulators that will be the face of the government dealing with the oil and gas industry? Who are the officials of the government that will be dealing with the oil and gas industry? So essentially, everything you need to do with that has to do with how the government relates with the oil and gas industry. That's what this bill actually spells out. What powers does the president have? What powers does the petroleum minister have? Who appoints who into the board of the various organizations? That's what this bill does.
Now, I put this out late yesterday on my Twitter account, and I said I'm worried that the petroleum ministry hasn't said a word. The newspapers this morning reporting no paying, Pengasan, the oil industry, senior, yes, are saying, yeah, this is okay. Surprisingly, Ibeka Chiku's ministry hasn't said a word.
Well, initially, the first draft of the governance bill, don't forget, this governance bill was drafted by the Senate Committee on Petroleum Matters. It wasn't an executive bill. It wasn't sponsored by the executive arm of government. So there were some parts of this particular bill that felt a bit
owned initially. Thanks for taking us through the history, through the milestones. So it was actually a National Assembly initiative.
Yes, it was.
Years ago.
Yes. So they took the part of the PIB that related to governance and felt we should be the one to craft how this works. And don't forget, to some extent, what they also did was to introduce themselves also into the picture. So, for instance, the board of the various...
So the senators put themselves
into the decision-making process a bit as well, too. In
the new document?
Yes. So that's why, to some extent, the executive wasn't too happy, because it means the decision-making process is a little bit extended. Because this is where they come in. The boards of the various organizations will be selected by the president under the advisement of the petroleum minister with the ratification of the Senate or the National Assembly. So now that extends that approval process a little bit. And then don't forget, the petroleum minister before had the sole absolute right to approve oil blocks. But now he has to do it in conjunction. When he has agreed that he wants to renew a block, he has to send it to the corporation, the new regulatory commission, whose board are appointed by to some extent, the Senate.
By the Senate.
So
the executive
it plays another level of check, which wasn't there before. I think it's a good thing, but if it has to be managed well so that it doesn't elongate decision making in the industry.
Do you think so? This is not be politicized, kind of, because if the executive feels that the National Assembly isn't part of their lunch.
To some extent, they may feel that way, but I think they then sat down with them. They've had several meetings. Even before this bill came out, they've met with the committee on several occasions. They've deliberated. If you recall, when we had the roadmap launch as well to sometime last year, one of the things Kachuku said is that they were talking extensively with the Petroleum the Senate Committee on
But didn't
Petroleum
Kachuku
matters.
go to the National Assembly with his own versions?
He went with his own bills, his executive bill. So the fiscal bill, that went to the National Assembly. He went with that. He went with the various policies also, the oil policy and the gas policy as well too. So those are the subsequent drafts that we're expecting to see. Because this bill doesn't deal with a lot of issues. It just deals with just governance. It doesn't deal with the regulation of the downstream. It doesn't deal with fiscal terms for upstream. It doesn't deal with gas issues or gas terms.